we need to talk about Deadlock. More specifically, how Deadlock is actually the most geniusly marketed game in recent history. If you don't know, Deadlock is Valve's new MOBA slash hero shooter game. And it hasn't actually been formally announced or released, but yet it is wildly successful. It has a huge number of players and has been growing more and more behind the scenes month to month. And how Valve was able to pull this off might be one of the most genius marketing campaigns in recent history. See, in 2026, the best way to market and advertise your game might be not to market and advertise your game. So let's take it back a little bit and I'll explain what I mean. So back in, I think, April of last year, sometime early last year, we started hearing rumblings that Valve was going to make a new game, or they had a new game. And it was kind of a weird amalgamation of a hero shooter and a MOBA that they had kind of pulled together from the remnants of another game they were working on. And it turned out that some players already had access. And this kind of started to feed the curiosity machine that, the current gaming age loves so much. It was a mystery. That curiosity was only emboldened by how players largely got access to the game. See, the best way to get into Deadlock was to know somebody that was already in. So basically how it worked, and I think still works to be honest, is if you have access to the game, you have invitations and you can send invites to your friends or people online. Anybody that's like your Steam friend, you can send an invite to. Suddenly you start seeing Reddit communities and Discord servers pop up with groups of players trying to find people to invite them into the game. Or if you were lucky enough and you had a friend that got in, he could share access with you. And then you had friends and players kind of going back and forth and inviting each other in and getting access to this game that still had not yet been announced. And then they just let the game speak for itself. And I think that was kind of genius, to be honest. Them just kind of shadow dropping the game out there without even announcing it or talking about it. They didn't even acknowledge that the game existed. But if your game speaks for itself the way Deadlock does, people just get in and have fun. And behind the scenes over the past, 9-10 months, Valve has just pumped out update after update and continued to refine and improve the game. And it already has a larger and more dedicated community than a lot of big name releases. This game is wildly outperforming Battlefield 6, and that game was a success by all metrics. And I kept asking myself, why that is. I mean, it is Valve. That itself lends, a certain pedigree, a certain level of gravitas, if you will, to the game. Makers of Dota and Team Fortress, two pioneers of these big, massive genres, and they're kind of stepping back into the realm, into the ring, if you will, with some of the industry titans, and they've already proven that they know how to make a hero shooter and a MOBA. They helped pioneer both genres. But I think it's even more than that. It's even more than the Valve effect going on here. And a lot of it is that the game is genuinely good. It's genuinely fun. It's well made. They know what they're doing. Shocker. Valve knows how to make a good game, and I don't know how to not die right now for some reason. Come on. Hey. Recording and playing is hard. Brain talk or brain play? Brain don't both. Anyways, I think there's more going on here than just the Valve effect. I think it was a stroke of genius for them to say, why don't we just kind of, Highguard, everybody said it's a shadow release. It's an Apex, it's a shadow drop. And those games kind of were shadow drops. Not Highguard as much. They announced it, that they were shadow drop. It was weird. Anyway, this game kind of was the ultimate shadow drop because they didn't really even announce it. Nobody knew it was being made. And then suddenly you could just kind of play it, but they still didn't announce it. Like with Apex, when you got access to the game, they announced it. They were like, all right, hey, here's this game. It's out today. They never did that for Deadlock. They were just kind of like, hey, did you guys know that you could have access to this kind of secret Valve game? And it's actually good, and you want to check it out? And then people started checking it out. And over time, it snowballed into quite a big game. And I keep seeing more and more people. I'm getting absolutely wrecked right now. But regular players love it too. And they've slowly just been pumping out update after update. The patch notes for this game is huge, almost weekly, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. They're constantly adding new characters, and the way they do it is really cool. By playing the game, you get votes. And you can go to the character table and vote on which character you want to be put into the game next. So there is a set number of new characters, and the whole community votes on who they want, and then they'll put that character in. And they do this at a pretty blistering pace. Like, they've added a ton of new characters since I've been playing the game. I don't know. I just think it's really interesting when you look at something like Highguard that attempted a shadow drop, but did so with this big grandiose marketing push at the Game Awards, and then went silent, and now another marketing push on the game's release. And I actually like Highguard. I find it enjoyable, but the way they marketed that game really, really hurt the game. It really, really was to the detriment of the game itself. And I can't help but to think if they were just have put the game out, maybe release a trailer so people know what it is, but just put the game out and just let players see for themselves without a big TGA announcement, I think the game would have done so much better. I mean, you just imagine if Highguard was just kind of like put on Steam one day and people were like, yo, I found this really unique hero type shooter, but it kind of has like siege and Rust raid mechanics. You ride horses and bears on this big, like, if people were organically talking about it, I think Highguard would have been a whole different story. Like, just look at like Bungie with Marathon and the level of marketing they've put into that game. Or if we want to go to a really, really bad example, Sony with Concord. The level of marketing and money they put behind these games to try to get player engagement is insane. And largely these huge marketing campaigns don't really work anymore. They don't work like they used to. And, oh, we're going to win? We're going to win? We got it? No, we lost. Wait. Oh. Any shooter or game of this style that is planning on coming out over the next, year should definitely be looking at Valve and Deadlock and how they pulled this off. Because if there's 2 genres people are tired of, it would be MOBAs and hero shooters. This game is both. And it is doing great. Deadlock's launch and success really should be studied. Because for Valve to put a game out there, only way to access it is by knowing somebody that's already playing it. So it has this like organic growth. It kind of sprawls out slowly. People get in, they enjoy the game, they invite their friends, they invite others. Valve, behind the scenes, is constantly updating and adding stuff. And then it just slowly grows and grows and grows, and now it is a really successful, massive game, and it's not even out. Releasing your game with the traditional multi-million-dollar, multi-level marketing pushes just doesn't work like it used to. For something like Grand Theft Auto, where we're all waiting with bated breath, sure, it might work for that. Because it kind of, anything would work for that. They could shadow drop Grand Theft Auto tomorrow, and it would probably be the most successful launch in video game history. But new products like this, and Highguard, they don't really need this big trailer, because you can't accurately convey what Highguard is with a 2-minute trailer or 1-minute trailer. You couldn't accurately convey what Deadlock is with a short trailer and marketing push. You need players to try for themselves. And the way Valve was able to almost trick an entire community into hopping into this game and trying it for themselves really needs to be studied. Like, just bravo, Valve. Hurrah. Like, absolutely phenomenal job getting people to give your game a shot, and phenomenal job making a great game. To end the video, I'm going to do this live just to prove how successful this has been for Valve. We're going to pop out here. We're going to go straight to the charts. We're going to look, and boom, number 10 96,000 concurrent, almost 100,000 concurrent players. 10 out of the top games on Steam. Let's just think for a minute how impressive it is that a game that they didn't even formally announce, that doesn't even have a real way to access. Deadlock is in early development. Lots of temporary access is currently limited to friend invite via our playtesters. You still have to get an invite just to play the game. And there's 100,000 people on it right now. All I'm saying, guys, is if you're trying to release a game in 2026, study Deadlock. Study Deadlock. Study what Valve did here. This is a historically successful marketing campaign. Kudos. Kudos. Anyways, y'all have a good one.